Hello, my name is Candace Gottlieb Clark. I am the president and founder of Dynamic Team Solutions, and I want to thank you for joining us for this program, Crisis and Crossroads, the 2020 election. We created this series because we know there is so much divisiveness right now in our country, and that is creating such tensions and challenges in the ways people communicate, the way they team or collaborate. These are impacts that we feel personally, professionally, and absolutely we feel them and see them in the workplace. No longer are we in a position where we can see each other face to face on a daily basis. Instead, many people are working remotely. Where normal tensions might be something that can be resolved quickly, some of these are instead left to fester and churn. And that is just adding to the turmoil. Today, joining me for this program is Therese White. Therese is one of our illustrious consultants at Dynamic Team Solutions, and she specializes in areas of conflict resolution and conflict management, working with individuals, groups, and teams. And she has quite a bit that she can share about how we can change the ways people are responding in the workplace, helping people to communicate differently, build rapport, collaborate, and find teamwork.
One of the things that's helpful to be able to keep things in a positive light is to simply focus and just take a moment and reflect on what fulfills you in the workplace, what makes you happy about the workplace, what allows you to feel good about your coworkers. And being able to just focus on the positive in spite of all of the things that are going on will kind of lighten the mood and help you make space to sort things out.
And that builds on another concept that I've become really excited about recently, given the circumstances of our country today. And that is the concept of awe, AWE. And in short, awe is something that we feel when we're presented with something that's just got a magnitude beyond us. Consider the first time, if you're a parent, the first time you held or saw your child. If you enjoy the outdoors, consider how it feels when you're on the top of a mountain, on a wonderful trail, or even sitting at the beach. The majesty of those things can just help us have some perspective and recognize that these day to day interactions are just that. They're on the big picture, in the grand scheme of things, fairly insignificant. We recognize that sometimes they sting. Sometimes a person says something, reacts to something, whether it's face to face, on social media, or an email that's directed toward you. It can sting when you're on the receiving end of something that feels unfair or unkind, something that creates an ouch. And sometimes you're going to be able to give the person the benefit of the doubt. Maybe you know each other well. Maybe you have good understanding of the context by which they came from, that even though it hurt, you can forgive and you can move on and it's easy. But all too often, when we're on the receiving end, we don't just forgive or move on. We don't have the ability to offer a benefit of the doubt because we feel it was intentional or hurtful or unkind. And in those times, if we don't address it, it allows that issue to fester and to grow.
And the only way to get past that is to be able to have a conversation. And having a conversation with someone who may be extremely angry is going to be difficult. But if you can have that conversation with an open mind, that presents an opportunity to move past it and heal the relationship. Keep in mind the way we respond to someone who is angry versus the way we respond to someone who is afraid is slightly different. And then oftentimes fear is manifested as anger. And if we understand that the person is really fearful, we are often able to respond and react differently. But we won't know that unless we have a conversation with that person, letting them know, first of all, that what you just said left, as Candace said, me feeling an ouch. Can we talk about that? I want to understand what's happening, what's going on, what was on your mind. And when you ask those questions, be willing and ready to be curious and not critical.
That's such a super important point. And so I'm going to reiterate what you just said. When you're having those difficult conversations, find a way of asking questions of the other person. You know, perhaps let's say it's about the political issues that are going on currently. You might say, I'm struggling to understand why you support whichever candidate or issue you might hear the other person support. But ask them to explain it from a place of curiosity, not from a criticism that their views are wrong. If you come at it with that place, they may share information that enlightens you. And perhaps you can even have great respect for the reasons that they prefer one policy, one person over another. There may be some very valid pieces to the information they share that you might never know had you not taken that very open-minded stance when you had that conversation.
And sometimes these conversations will hopefully end on a positive note. And sometimes you'll go down a road that leads you to the only point that you can get to is simply to say, okay, moving forward, what do I need for you to stop doing, start doing, or do differently? And be willing to reverse that and say, what do you need from me? What would you like me to stop doing, start doing, or do differently so that we can have a cohesive and productive environment?
And really, that's a question that is one to voice out loud, just as Therese said. But even before you enter the conversation, maybe even as you finish listening to this program, this session today, maybe just give yourself a moment to reflect on that idea and think, what can I do to change the relationships I've developed or am developing with people in my life, people I work with, people I care about? And what can I do differently? What can I change and how can I do that? And that way you can already be starting that progress so that when the next conversation comes up, you're ready for it. I want to thank you for participating in this series of programs on crisis and crossroads. We know the challenges that are in the workplace right now are more intense and different than ever before. Our team at Dynamic Team Solutions is eager to support you as a company, as an individual, as teams, through our different services, and we certainly hope you will reach out to us for support if this guidance only gets you started and you'd like a little bit more to get you fully all the way there. You can reach out to us at help@dynamicteamsolutions.org, or please visit our website, www.dynamicteamsolutions.org. On behalf of Therese White and myself, Candace Gottlieb Clark, I want to thank you for participating in our 4-part series, Crisis and Crossroads, the 2020 election. Thank you.